The cold blue lights of St. Grace Hospital ICU painted long shadows across the sterile walls. The hum of machines, the occasional beep of monitors, and the faint hiss of oxygen flowing into tubes created a mechanical lullaby for the patients lying within. Among them was Sophia Carter, one of the youngest heirs in the world's billionaire elite, a woman who had everything money could buy but tonight. Lying pale and fragile in a hospital gown, she had only herself. Her chest rose and fell in shallow, uneven breaths, a subtle rhythm against the harsh background of life-sustaining machines. She pressed the call button with trembling fingers, her eyes scanning the dim room, as if hoping for some invisible presence to ease her fear. Her mind drifted to the life she had led, the skyscrapers she owned, the boardrooms she had dominated, the people who had bowed at her name. And yet, as she lay there connected to wires and tubes, she realized that all her wealth could not fill the emptiness pressing against her chest. Sophia's thoughts swirled like a storm. She thought of Marcus, her fiancé, a man polished and powerful, always composed, yet incapable of understanding what it meant to truly fear death. She wanted him here, she admitted, but not for comfort. She wanted to see a human face, one that would look at her without the pretense of wealth. In her haze of exhaustion, she reached for her phone. She intended to call Marcus, but her trembling hands made a fatal mistake. Her finger slipped, and she dialed a number she didn't recognize. Across town, in a modest apartment filled with the smells of everyday life and the faint laughter of a child, Daniel Brooks, a single father, answered. His day had been long, filled with the chaos of daycare drop-offs, late bills, and constant worry for his young daughter Emma. His voice, weary yet warm, answered the phone. "Hello?" he asked. "Please, I just need one voice," Sophia whispered, her words breaking like fragile glass over the line. Daniel froze. The voice was soft, fragile, yet tinged with authority. Something about it tugged at him, not recognition, not familiarity, but raw vulnerability. I can come," he said without thinking, not knowing why he had promised, only knowing that he could not say no. The journey to St. Grace Hospital was a blur. Emma, his daughter, slept in the back seat, clutching her small stuffed bunny as her father drove like a man possessed. The city lights blurred against the windshield, and Daniel's thoughts were chaotic. Who was this woman? Why had she called him? And yet, he knew, instinctively, that she needed him tonight. When he arrived, the ICU doors loomed large and impersonal, their automatic sensors opening to a world of stark white walls and endless machines. Sophia lay there, oxygen mask fogging with every shallow breath, monitors beeping in unison. Her eyes, wide and searching, locked on Daniel the moment he entered. The connection was immediate, unspoken, a silent acknowledgement of her fragility and his resolve. "Sir, visiting hours," the nurse began, but Daniel cut her off, gently setting Emma down. "She called me," he said simply. She didn't want to be alone. Sophia's lips quivered. Marcus would never understand this moment, not the human simplicity, not the desperate need for a touch or a voice. But Daniel, he understood instinctively. She reached out her hand, trembling, and Daniel took it gently. Emma, curious, approached slowly, clutching her stuffed bunny. Sophia's tear-filled eyes softened. The child offered her the toy with innocent generosity. "You can have my bunny," Emma said quietly. "It helps when I'm scared." Sophia's lips curved into a weak smile. "Thank you," she whispered. The hours stretched on. Marcus arrived later, his polished demeanor masking the tension underneath. He demanded answers, authority, explanations, his world of power crashing into the quiet intimacy of this room. "You can't just call someone else," he said, voice sharp. Sophia shook her head. "You weren't here when I needed someone to care. To stay. To stay." Marcus faltered, his control slipping. He was used to having everything he wanted, but tonight, the rules were different. Money, influence, power, all meaningless against the raw reality of life and death. As the night deepened, Sophia's breathing grew weaker. The heart monitor beeped erratically. Daniel held her hand, tears slipping down his cheeks. He whispered words she could barely hear, promises he could barely keep. "Stay with me tonight," she murmured, her voice a fragile thread. "I'm right here," Daniel replied, his own voice breaking. And then it happened, the flatline. The monitor's rhythmic beeping ceased, replaced by a long, drawn-out tone that echoed through the silent ICU. Daniel froze, gripping her hand tighter. He could not believe it, could not accept it. "No, stay with me," he whispered, as if his words alone could pull her back. Marcus stepped back, powerless, a billionaire stripped of influence. The nurse sighed, checking charts, following protocol. But Daniel remained, cradling Sophia's hand as if that simple touch could defy fate itself. In those final moments, Emma placed her small hand on Sophia's arm, the bunny between them, a bridge between worlds, the world of the richest woman in New York, and the simple, honest love of a child. Sophia's lips curved into a faint, serene smile. She closed her eyes. And then she was gone. The world outside might have mourned her passing as the death of a billionaire heiress, but within that quiet ICU, in the touch of a stranger's hand and the gift of a child's love, Sophia found something that money could never buy: connection, humanity, peace. Marcus would remember the loss, but Daniel and Emma remembered the moments that mattered, the moments when wealth was meaningless, when the simplest gestures were worth more than an empire, when staying with someone, really staying, could make all the difference in the world. The sun began to rise, the blue hospital lights replaced by a soft golden glow. Daniel lifted Emma in his arms and whispered a promise to the woman who had touched their lives in the briefest, yet most profound way. "I'll never forget you, Sophia Carter," he murmured. "You'll always be with us." And for the first time that night, the room felt warm,